Voyagers. This is Igor Alcantara, and I am here for the second part two of the Multi-Armed Bandits video. So if you have not watched part one, so stop right now and go watch part one. Part one, it's where I explain what multi-arm bandit technique is and all the theory. It's not a long video, so go watch that. So you need that knowledge in order to understand what I'm actually doing here. So I want to show you how then implement multi-arm bandit. So you understand there, what's actually is the whole theory. So another thing before I start, I'll ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, bookmark our blog, datavoyages.net. And if you like this, please share our content. So let's go ahead and let me share my screen so we can then focus on the content of today. So this is a pseudo code that I want to display to you. Actually, having this code showing like real data will make this video too long. So then I decided just to show you how we will actually implement this. So this is the scenario I want to implement. So I want to use Qlik to select how many impressions of specific ads I will show. So let's say it's an online ads that I want to display in my website or in other websites. And I have X number of options. So let's say I have 5 different options. So I want to display those. But which one should I display? Because I do not know which ones are the best ones to display to the users. Which one will have the best performance? And the performance here we're measuring based on a metric called CTR, click through rate. Basically, how many clicks I have in relation to how many times that ad was displayed. That's our performance metric. So again, revisit the first video where I explained the concept of exploit versus explore. So I want to try different ads, but also I don't want to lose opportunity too much. I just want to show different ads and capture the data and then see, how well they perform. And then I can pick what is the best one. But maybe over time, other ones might have a chance to perform better because things change. It's internet. It's very dynamic. So I want to have the chance to revisit and reevaluate the performance and give a chance to other ads. So that's what we implement in here. So before all of these starts, we need to do a first try, first run. And then in your implementation, you will decide. You want to let this run for a week, a day, 2 days, 2 weeks. So that's basically the exploration phase that is independent of your algorithm right here. So you're going to let it run for, let's say you let it run for a couple of weeks, so then you can collect historical data. On that, basically each ad, you're going to let it run or display equally distributed. So let's say you have 4 ads or 5 ads, then each one will be displayed 20% of the time. So equally, so they all have the same equal chance of being clicked by users. Then you collect your data. Let's say you invested, I don't know, $100. Then you collect the data and you invest now more. There was just your trial experiment, your trial phase. Now you want to invest $1,000, but which one of those you actually be investing that money? Well, that's where this logic comes in place. And I'm just showing you an example for that digital marketing, the online ads, but we can apply this in multiple other scenarios. Again, watch the first video to see some use cases we can apply this. So let's start analyzing this. So first, we will collect this data as I explained. So we have two main data sets in here, two main data sets, and also two main data points. So the data sets that we have are the impressions. So that's basically how many times each ad was displayed. And we have the clicks. So how many times each ad was clicked. So every time an ad is clicked, I collect the data. And every time an ad is displayed to a user, so I go to a website, it is displayed in to me, then I also collect the data. So I'm going to combine those two. And timestamp is basically when that happened. Not actually important for the algorithm, but it's a data point that you will have. And I have this ad ID right here, which is basically just in something that I'll identify which one of those, for example, 5 ads that I'm referring to. Great. So then I will load my impressions data set, whatever file you have that. So I'm loading that, and I'm loading my clicks data set. Notice that they both have the ad ID. So I need to know what ad I'm talking about, of course. So then I'll combine both of them based on the clicks. So then, of course, if I'm loading that from the click, I'm considering the ad was clicked. That's why I'm setting this flag clicked as 1. Then I will take, that's my first table. Then basically I will create the ad events table loaded from the ad events. That's why I have no concatenate. And then basically I'll tell here, if the clicked variable is null, then it means that value did not come from the clicks. It came from the impression that did not have a link in the clicks table. So then I will consider that ad was not clicked. And of course, I'll have multiple rows per ad because the ad might be clicked multiple times. So let's say an ad was clicked 5 times. It will have 5 rows with the clicked value equals to 1. So then I can drop those two tables, impressions and clicks, because I no longer need them. So these are my first 3 steps. Pretty simple. It's just Qlik. There's nothing to do with Multi-Armed Bandits logic. Then let's go to step 4, which will then initialize the statistics for the clicks. So basically for each ad, that's why I'm doing a group by here, I will count how many times the ad shows up in the table. So that means how many times it was displayed. And I will sum the click flag. So remember, it will have a 1 value if it was clicked, 0 if it was not clicked. So if you sum that, then you get how many times each ad was clicked. So that's my ad stats table. So this is all data preparation. Now I have for each ad, how many times was displayed, how many times was clicked. So then I can calculate the performance. However, before doing that, I don't want to make my decision based on the performance only. How many times was clicked based on how many times was displayed. I want to give it a chance to ads that were not yet performed so well. I want to give it a chance. So that's when the multi-armed bandit comes into place. That's where we actually doing the exploration versus exploitation. So I'm using the epsilon algorithm. So then I need to define what is my epsilon. So that's basically your exploration rate, and it's a fraction. So I define my exploration rate as 0.1, meaning 10% of the times I'm showing an ad that not necessarily is performing well. That's my exploration. That's the chance I'm giving. 90% of the time, I'm going through the ads that are actually performing better. But 10% of the time, I'm just throwing out there other ads just to see if they'll perform better, maybe. Just giving them a chance. So I'll define that's my epsilon, and then I'll generate a random number. How do I generate random number in Qlik? Rand function. That gives me a number between 0 and 1. So if that number, the random number, is less than my exploration rate, the epsilon, then I'll do exploration. So that's my condition to start the exploration. And what is the exploration? I'm just going to randomly sort, randomly select one ad out of the possible ads. So then basically I'm doing a rand, rand times how many ads I have. So let's say I have 5 ads, then I'm sorting a number between 1 and 5. And then I'm taking that and I'm considering the ad ID. In that case, my logic builds on the fact that ad ID is a sequential number starting on in 1. If your ID is different, then you just need to do a different logic to randomly select one. But that would be the easiest one. So you can implement like a row number in your script just to get that same logic. So then I will select randomly. That's why I'm using the rand function, and I'm doing a CO. But if the number is, let's say, 0.3, then it will round up. So that's what the CO does. So then it will be the first ad. If the random number is 2.3, then the ad selected is 3. Actually, it's 2.3. Then it's round up to 3. That's how I'm selecting. There you go. So that's my so I'm then selecting an ad that is not based on their ad performance. It's just the exploration. So I'm just giving a chance to a random ad. So if not, so that's 90% of the case, let's just do exploitation. Let's just use the ads that perform the best. By the way, I'm showing this, but like recording companies, they used to do something like that. So they had an exploration rate. They didn't call that name, but each studio, each recording company, they call a different name. But basically, for most of the investment in marketing, in recording, etc., they sign with artists and dedicated to artists. They were already famous. They were already popular. So it's kind of if I record a new album with these artists, then it's most likely a success. But I want to grow because someday these bands will stop recording, or they'll not be a huge success anymore, or there'll be a new trend. So part of my budget I will dedicate to like spread into different like new bands, new styles, whatever it is. And then that's the exploration, like the 10% that I'm talking about. So we have multiple scenarios where we can apply this. Now, there we go. Now, what we need to do is find what ads are performing better. By the way, this is real time or near real time. So we can refresh this, let's say, every 1 hour, every 2 hours, whatever you decide how real time you want this to be. And it might change. Maybe the ad number 5 is performing really well, and then after a certain time, then ad number 4 start performing better, etc. So what I'm doing then is selecting and calculating what is the estimated CTR. Remember, that's my performance metric, the click-through rate, which is basically if the ad was not displayed, then it's basically 0. I need to do that if statement. Otherwise, I would be dividing by 0, which would not give me a number. Will give an infinite number, which is not a number per se, but that's another mathematical discussion. So basically, how many clicks divided by how many times was displayed. So it was clicked. What a percentage of the time display was actually clicked. That's my CTR. Then let me select what is the max CTR. Why is that? Because I want to get the best performers. So let's say best CTR is, for example, 50. Those are the best. I might have multiple ads with 50, exactly 50. So let me get those ads. So that will return me the ad IDs for those ads where the estimated CTR is equals to the max. I'm using a peak function to do that job, which is a different way of other people who do like a join. That's another technique. Then let me get, by the way, we might have multiple. So let me get how many rows I have with the best ads. How many rows have the number of CTR is the best CTR. And then let me pick one of those. Let me randomly select one of those best ads. And then let me select the ad based on that. So my selected ad will be randomly selected if I'm doing exploration, the 10% of the time, and or in other actually, it will be the best performer um, if if I'm not exploring, if I'm exploiting. Then I drop all of these tables that I no longer need, and basically that's it. And then I can this basically I can have a new table, and I can simply add one unit to display count and click count, just to give a little bias towards the selected ad. But that's basically what I'm doing. And then how you implement this. So then you save this file as a QVG, CSV, whatever. And then you just need to integrate that finding with your logic that is, the whatever algorithm you're using. Let's say it's Google Analytics, Google Ads, or whatever you do using to decide the rate in which each one of those ads are actually displayed. So then this other part of the work is outside of Qlik. So they'll integrate that through automations, through whatever it is. So that's as a not real Qlik related. So basically that's how you do it. So let's say you run this every hour. So that means every hour the numbers might change, and then you're always giving that 10% of the chance to those the ads that were not performed well before, so they never actually the selected ad. They might so then you're just running them, 10% of the time. So then you can maximize your exploration and exploitation rate. So I hope you like this. I hope you found this useful. I hope you find this interesting. If you do, again, please share. And I ask you humbly to follow us on social media. You can find Data Voyagers on LinkedIn, YouTube, and also our blog, datavoyagers.net. Hope you enjoy. Keep exploring. See you next time.